Welcome back to WCS America Season 3 round of 16. We're live from our Burbank studio at ESL America. And we're in the final match of the day. That's Neeb versus Hart, the rematch. A lot of people are sending their support to both Neeb and Hart. A lot of Hart fans out there from Team Axiom, but a lot of the USA fans rooting for Neeb. I'm going to link in Twitch chat in just a little bit the information for tickets that are going to be sold for you to come on down to view the round of 16 next week, or the round of 8 happening in October. Also, please do me a favor, jump on Twitter, send a tweet at Newegg, thanking them for sponsoring hashtag WCS. We're almost ready for the final match. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and throw it to the commentators. Gentlemen, take it away.
Thanks, Josh. Me and QXC again, man. Last TvT of the day. Of course, short day, but still.
It went by so quickly. I was hoping that this day would last forever.
I'm sure there was someone out there, or at least a good dozen people that were like, oh man, it's going to be like all these long, slow games with mass tanks and scans, and it's going to be super boring. And so it's like,
nope.
You were wrong.
Nope.
That's not how TvT works anymore. That's just not the way it is.
Yeah, it was very action-packed, all those games. Hart, I felt like he was playing more to his... It was interesting because he wasn't playing the one-base aggression that he played against Neeb, but he also wasn't really playing like a more macro-oriented style because he never took that third command center. And so it was this mix between opening with a little bit of a macro style, but then transitioning immediately into a very hard 5 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport attack that just lasted until the game ended.
Yeah, it's a very heavy 2-base aggression that fizzles out as you don't have that 3rd base to mine off of, and also you don't have those 2-2 upgrades. But maybe we'll see Hart get back into that aggressive swing here in the rematch. We're going to see a Vito on Foxtrot, Vito on Deadwing, merry-go-round. Pretty similar set of maps actually so far to the last time that they played.
Okay.
Are these are close
may
to the same
be
maps.
the exact same 3 maps.
Yeah.
But I think the players vetoed differently.
A little bit.
I think that last time Neeb vetoed Deadwing, but it doesn't really matter. So first map is Overgrowth, second map Nimbus, and third map Sejong. So a little bit of a different order there. We did not see Overgrowth the last time these two players fought each other.
No.
About an hour ago.
Roughly.
It was really not very long ago that these two players just went up against each other.
Hart's played every series of the day so far. Yeah. He's like, all right, got my 1 match, got my winners match. There's no losers match, so no breaks. Just been nonstop StarCraft for him. So he's easily the most warmed up player right now.
Yeah. Well, he's been, you say he's played every match of the day, but we only went live about 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
So he
didn't have a lot of matches.
Hart has played every single match of the day for an hour.
Just about, roughly.
It's like, a very, very short amount of time here.
Yeah, and quick games, quick broadcasts so far. I think we've just about got the lobby set up to kick things off on Overgrowth.
Yep.
Overgrowth itself, small map, 2 players, not really that hard to scout, but also means you don't need to scout if you want to do something aggressive off of a gas first build.
Right. This map doesn't really favor Reapers at all. Very hard to use them effectively. We do sometimes see players open Reapers on this map, but it's not like Catalina where you've got a big opening, a second way into your base. And it's... Overgrowth and Sejong also have one major similarity in that the natural can be sieged, at least to some extent, without actually going through the front door. On Sejong, you can park your siege tanks below the circleable rocks.
If we had Major playing here today, he would have done that. He loves that tank siege on the low ground.
Yep. And we did see earlier Pult sieging his tanks behind Hart's natural, something that's very common on Overgrowth. It's just such an easy place to put your siege tanks, and you can do so much pressure, so much aggression, deny a lot of SCVs and mining time, easily putting yourself ahead. Based on what we've seen so far, so I kind of feel like Hart, I feel like Hart was either pulling punches against Neeb in their first set, or he had some very specifically tailored builds to do against Pult.
Yeah.
Because the way Hart opened against Neeb was completely different from the way he opened against Pult.
Yeah, he didn't play the same way at all against him between the two matches. You kind of illustrated it perfectly. A little wave from Hart, but we had the gas first aggression against Neeb, and then against Paul it was just a heavy two base play. So
right,
it's gonna be interesting to see if he just goes right back into that.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll, because now, you know, maybe he had decided beforehand he's going to save certain builds to use against Pult. He doesn't want to reveal them in his first match against Neeb, or, you know, he didn't know that Major wasn't going to be here until just probably today, maybe last night. But now this is it. There's no more matches left. There's no secrets worth hiding at this point. Whatever his absolute best builds, his best shot at advancing, that's what he needs to use here. And it seemed like his builds from the first set were sufficient. Neeb seemed to be caught off guard in general, but Neeb's had a lot of time to think about those builds. I expect he'll be more prepared for them this time around.
Yeah, I agree. This is something that he has to really keep in mind, but it's so difficult in this matchup to prepare for everything at once. Oh well, we're loaded in to the first game of the final series of the day. This very short day, QXC. In the bottom left position, we have the Red Terran player who defeated this man earlier, roughly an hour ago, from Team Axiom. He is Hart.
And in the top right-hand corner, the final American in WCS America. He's fighting for his tournament life. Give it up for Fnatic's Neeb! Gas first?
Gas first.
Gas
Double
first.
gas first.
Oh,
All that gas first, QXC.
Neeb is going for the gas first now. He's probably... Neeb also opened Reaper both games that they played the last time. And I think this is a very smart switch up from Neeb. One of the easiest ways to lose in StarCraft is to be too predictable. You know, not only can your opponent predict what you're doing and tailor their build against it, but just from a mental aspect, people react faster and more accurately against things that they expect to see coming. And so sometimes the best thing to do is just the unexpected. I mean, obviously not too unexpected.
In the eyes of Neeb, this could also be him saying, I'm just going to return fire, man. If this is how you want to play versus me, I feel comfortable enough playing on North American ladder. You typically see the crazy stuff come out. He's like, I'm ready to get a little crazy myself. He's even checking for proxies. He knows this is the map that Hart has busted out the proxy Marauder builds on. So you can tell that Neeb put a little bit of time preparing, at the very least, for this group. But we didn't see this map in their first series, as you pointed out earlier.
Yep. And both players, let's see, we'll have to... In a moment, we'll know if Hart is choosing to go for that same gas first that he used against Neeb in their first series. Is he going to make a Reaper, or is he going to make another... No, he's actually going to make a Tech Lab. So this will probably be the gas first build that Hart used against Pult on Catalina, where he built the Tech Lab on the barracks. This allows you to build the starport directly onto the Tech Lab, which means your first Banshee is going to be on the order of about 10 seconds faster than it would be otherwise. It's a little bit risky because your first set of units is very late. Oh, yep, there's the starport, second gas. And so right now, Hart has one Marine, and that's it.
Yeah.
And if Neeb had gone for some kind of, let's say, proxy, early aggression... Even
one Reaper can mess you up if you do this and you get caught off guard.
The Hellion coming out is a little bit of a buffer against that Reaper, but you can see the Hellion comes out at 4:30. A Reaper would be in Hart's base killing that Marine at around 4 minutes. So there's around a 20-second window where you literally would be defending one Reaper with one Marine.
And we all know, well, that's just not a fight that the Marine wins.
Yeah. But it's a little bit of a gamble from Hart, but a well-calculated one. We can see that Neeb did not open Reaper. And both players now going for that Cloak Banshee. And if we compare their Banshee timings, you can see that Hart's is just a little bit faster. And that not only is the Banshee a bit faster, but so is Cloak. And that has to do with the fact that he built that Tech Lab and made that slight risk earlier on.
It's not a huge difference, I'd say. You kind of mentioned a couple seconds.
Well, so sorry to interrupt you, but
it's all good.
One of the reasons that it wasn't as significant as it could have been is because he started the Hellion before he started the starport.
Right. So it could have been maybe 5 or 10 seconds even more faster.
Yeah, some number of seconds faster for sure.
Okay. The distance it takes to cross the map, I think the biggest part of that comes into play is Neeb having something like a Raven or a Viking at home to defend.
Right.
But he's going for, both players get their command centers, and they're going for the Raven.
Yep.
Neeb's Raven is actually a little bit behind Hearts. And I do feel that this is one of those situations where a handful of seconds is pretty significant.
Yep.
Because you do not want this Banshee to get anything done that a Raven would be able to prevent.
Yeah, and Cloak is actually going to finish for Heart's Banshee in just now, and the Banshee is going to be in his base. So Hart has an advantage in tempo at this moment. He's already attacking his opponent with the Banshee, whereas Neeb's Banshee has not yet reached Heart's base.
Nice little bit of pressure though. The Widow Mine's in a cool spot to prevent any Hellions, I think, that would try to maybe do some sort of backstab type attack.
Yep.
But, I think they're both just kind of trading at the moment. Marines for Marines, not really a whole lot of workers going down yet.
Yeah, and that's pretty expected. Neither player was taking obscene risks. The Widow Mine does snipe that Banshee.
That's a nice pickup.
Yeah. That gives Hart a lot more flexibility in what he's doing. He doesn't have to worry as much about keeping his Raven and Viking at home. And Neeb actually a little bit of a mistake here, I think. His first Viking is much, much later than Hart's. And maybe he forgot to start it, or he didn't think that he would need it and then decided he would, but that's allowing Hart's Banshee to get just that little bit of extra damage in. You can see Neeb is down 3 SCVs. And he's down... Well, he's actually got more Marines than Hart. Not sure. Oh, because Hart went for a fast tech lab.
Yeah.
And so Hart is going to have no immediate timings because his Marine count is going to be very low, and he's a little more vulnerable.
I gotta ask you, I feel like in a lot of my own games in TvT, and you see this somewhat often, how much faster Hart's getting his production set up. He's already on 3 barracks now.
Right.
I always like the Terran that can get into this position faster. I feel like Neeb, as close as the supplies may look, is going to quickly fall behind unless he makes something happen very soon with these barracks all being done.
Yeah, so basically the way this is shaping out is Neeb is playing for a more immediate advantage because he's not getting any upgrades, and he's continuing to make Vikings out of his starport. Whereas Hart is playing a slightly more defensive style, where as soon as Stim finishes, he'll have opportunities to be aggressive. You can see this is manifest in the fact that Hart has less... Well, actually, the Marine count is just evening up now, but Hart has less siege tanks, and he has much less air control. With the... Neeb is about to go up to 3 Vikings right now.
Yeah, that Banshee's going to come in now. Really shouldn't be able to accomplish anything else as Neeb starts to move across the map. I think you kill the Banshee, and then he's just going to make this push, and this... you do this and you attack into Stim.
The Widow Mine at the Watchtower. Oh, that's going to be so much damage. Wait, why didn't it do anything? It doesn't have vision!
It can't see through the bushes, man.
Oh my god. I was like... Because the Marines, you have nothing to heal them. That Widow Mine
hits... Kill the Viking, though. Just got one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that could have... That Widow Mine, if it hits the Marines with no medevacs, that is devastating.
Yeah, this push... Ooh. This is actually very ill-fated. Stim is done already.
Yeah, I think he's just going to kill this force. Neeb lands his Vikings, like drop some auto turrets, but these Marines, man, they think they've already done what they need to do, and you still can't push into Hart's forces.
The fangs of that push have definitely already been taken out. Neeb knows he's got to transition immediately into combat shields and Stim. He's got 2 tech labs at home for his barracks now, and...
the Widow Mine?
No, everything's... Kill the Widow Mine. Do it. Okay, good.
That Raven takes some serious pain, but still alive.
Yep. And now we're shaping up into it. So Neeb, he had some opportunities for aggression. He kind of missed his window, though, because Hart's Stim finished so early. And Neeb, I think Neeb could have taken that fight if he had landed Vikings and auto turrets at the front and things like that, and he hadn't been scouted so early, or if he had been able to attack a little bit earlier. But now that his attack has been deflected, Hart has all the momentum he wants in this game. His upgrades are going to give him about 2 minutes where he has Stim and shields and his opponent has neither.
And the army just looks so much better for Hart. He's taking his 3rd base. Neeb, What's the tank count at? It's still slightly ahead. He's got 5 tanks, and of course they're all at home. They're available for immediate defense.
Here's the drop.
But
let's take a look at the watchtower.
There's 1 tank and those 2
is.
Vikings to defend. I mean, this could just kill him. It's without stamina. Neeb can't really rush up here to defend that quickly. And the auto turrets are going to provide a buffer. Tanks are sieging for Hart. He stims. Auto turrets thrown in, and that's... I'm not sure what you do to stop this now. GG. Hart takes first map.
Yep. And you could definitely feel Neeb was trying a different style. You know, he played mech the first 2 times he played Hart. Decided that wasn't going to carry him through this series. Now he's switching it up into some bio play, opening with gas first instead of Reaper. But he just looks always 1 step behind Hart. Every interaction that they have, Hart is a little bit ahead, whether it's Hart's calculated risk in getting that slightly earlier Banshee and slightly earlier Raven, or the decision to go into that very fast stim and anticipating Neeb's army move out and catching it. You know, Neeb really never was able to get the upper hand in any of the trades that happened. He got a couple of kills with the Banshee, but Hart was always more effective with his Banshee.
Yeah, Hart's he honestly didn't make a lot of mistakes. I really like the positioning on his Widow Mine too. Once the Raven came out, it helped zone that Banshee away and eventually kill it, which definitely was not what Neeb was planning on.
Yeah.
And then the follow-ups, right? He set up himself up for this tank push, but just hit so late that Hart has 3 barracks production. He has stim, and I think just fighting Marine tank versus Marine tank, when you have that many barracks, you only need 1 or 2 production cycles to catch up with your opponent's consistent unit production.
Right. Especially once that first reactor finishes, his production kicks in, and I don't know. He's got to be thinking now, what can I do? What do I need to change? Every single game so far between Neeb and Hart have been very one-sided. Nothing has really gone in Neeb's favor, just from the beginning of the game.
I agree. It's definitely been a series. I guess a series. It's been a day of difficulty for Neeb in this. In both matches against Hart, he was not able to get any ground. We have not seen any of these games advance to a 3-base versus 3-base setup. This has not happened in between these 2 players.
Based on what we saw from Hart against Pult,
he doesn't want to even go to 3-base.
Never go to a 3-base scenario.
Yeah.
But Hart seems to be favoring the that early aggression. We are now going on to Nimbus for the second map and what could be the final map of today.
He went gas first on this map the last time that he played against Neeb too.
Oh, Hart's gone gas first every single game he's played against Neeb, and I think it's not unreasonable that he would just go gas first again. You know, when something is working, sometimes it's okay to just continue to do it.
Do you think the reason that maybe he doesn't open with this gas first style against Pult is because he thinks he's like afraid that Pult will have a really well set up counter to a gas first build, or?
I don't know. It's really hard to say why players choose certain builds. There's so many variables that go into it. Sometimes the answer is really just, I didn't do that build because somewhere my intuition told me not to. And they couldn't explain it even if
I know that feeling
talk
sometimes.
to them for an extended period of time, because they just don't know. They're going off a gut instinct.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point. Sometimes you just get a feel for it. But we're here, we're loaded into Nimbus. Our first player in the top right position, he needs to win 2 games to advance on to the top 8 of WCS America Premier League Season 3, representing Fnatic. He is Neeb.
And in the bottom right-hand corner, coming all the way from Korea, having recently fallen to Pult, playing his first... Well, oh man, I messed that up. All right, everybody give it up for Hart! English failed me.
It's okay. We all make mistakes.
Thank you, Nate. Gas first, gas first.
Gas first. Yeah, this is a little bit more what I expected out of today's games. A lot of gas first play from both players. You go for a lot of gas first openings yourself, I'd imagine.
I actually like to play against the meta in TvT because I feel like gas first is so common that it's pretty easy. Like, you can construct builds that are specifically designed to fight gas first.
So what would be an example of that be?
Just like a very well timed out Reaper expand, I think is appropriate here.
Into like Hellions or?
No, just turrets, and then you go, you know, fast siege tank or fast Vikings, and because a big part of defending the gas first is just making sure your eBay is on time and your turrets are on time.
Yeah.
You know, as long as, and that was kind of what we saw the last time these two players played on this map. The biggest reason that Neeb got behind at the beginning was because the turret in his natural was late.
Yeah,
2 mules got denied, 3 SCVs died, and then that kind of makes the gas first opening that Hart did pay for itself in a lot of ways, and it makes the transition for Neeb so much harder because all of a sudden he didn't have money to get the things that he needed, like additional supply depots, you know, starting Viking production right away. And so that's kind of what I do. Reaper is coming out for Hart.
It makes a lot of sense. This Reaper after First Marine for Hart, I don't think is going to get him quite what it did the last time.
No, I don't.
Because it's not a standard Reaper opening from Neeb, and Neeb just kind of pumping out the standard units makes a lot of sense. I expect to see him probably get a quick Hellion too, or is he going to go straight for the Tech Lab?
You think for Hart?
Nah, for Neeb.
Oh, Neeb.
He's not going to build
No,
any
he's
Hellions.
not going to get a Hellion because he's SCV scouting.
Yeah.
The early Hellion is a way to compensate for the fact that you're not SCV scouting, so you can still figure out where your opponent is. If you SCV scout, you have slightly less money because you don't have that SCV mining, and so you don't need you don't really have the money to make this the Hellion anyway. So Tech Lab, we're going to see Banshee, probably from both players. We'll have to see what Hart is going to do here, because Hart has 1 Marine right now, so it's going to be pretty awkward for him to defend a Banshee. But he is going to get a little bit of damage with the Reaper. Nope. I guess he's just trying to get information.
The Reaper's boxed in now too, so it should die.
Yeah, but he pulled the Marines out of position so the Hellion could come up into his main.
Ah, that's mildly frustrating.
Yeah, and as long as... Okay, so the Reaper's gone now, and the Hellion's going to be pushed out of his base. And what... Yeah, so basically the way this build works is if your opponent is going Banshee, you cannot also go Banshee, because you have nothing to defend the Banshee with. If Hart went for Banshee himself right now, he'd be defending with basically 4 Marines, and that's just not enough.
No.
The Banshee would be able to just sit on top of those Marines, fight them, kill them, and then you could clean up the rest of the SCVs without much trouble. And so now he's going for that fast Viking, and then a Raven immediately after. Now this is really... Look at how Hart is spreading out his units. He knows that the Banshee is coming, and he's anticipating it, and his Viking is in position to catch it.
This is beautiful. He doesn't have Cloak yet, so Neeb can actually just straight up lose his Banshee. That's a really rough start, because this opens up the door, I feel, for Hart to throw out any myriad of counterattack play. Like this Viking could even try to land and delay this command center. That's what he's going to do.
Yep. He needs to bring his Marines up here. The Viking is going to get that SCV, and now Hart is in a really nice position. He didn't take any damage at all, and
Neeb just kicks off a 3rd command center. He's like, well, I guess I just gotta hope that I'm not gonna get all in, because he still has not seen anything at all of Hart's base.
Hart is doing the early medevac drop.
Oh, I think this might just kill him.
Actually, I'm not.
Neeb has so few units. He has no tanks.
Hart's build is actually a little bit strange, and it's a little inconsistent. He's got a Tech Lab on his barracks.
Yeah, his second tank is way slower than it should be for a push like this.
Like he's got 2 medevacs now, but when the 2 medevacs finish, you really want to have 2 tanks done.
Just drop some SCVs to repair it.
Yeah. And he's got a Tech Lab on his barracks, but he can't actually make stim, so his resources are accumulating, but I don't think he really cares. He's just going to... Oh, is he going to wait for that second tank?
Yes.
Yeah, he is.
I think the firepower is worth it. He's slowed Neeb down enough, and going for a 3rd command center completely cuts off any potential that Neeb would have to get a sufficient unit production to counterattack, even if Hart didn't kill him.
Well, he doesn't know about the 3rd command center, but it's working out very well for Hart in this situation. Neeb is totally out of position. A lot of his units are in his natural. He's basically going to have to give up this command center in the back right here.
Yep. Here comes the drop. The tanks land, they siege up, and now this command center at some point or another is going to have to be lifted off, right? He can't hold this position. Well, the tank's going to siege. If he gets some fire on the Marines, I can start to believe he didn't use any of the auto turrets. Okay, auto turrets thrown out by Neeb. He's actually going to try to break this by pulling his SCVs, which makes things awkward since the auto turrets are dropped for Hart too. He's slowly getting on top of these forces, but now that Neeb's Marines are dead, Hart can actually just drop onto the tank that Neeb has.
Yeah, Neeb is left with basically almost no units at all. The command center is taking additional damage here. He needs to float that command center away, or it is going to die.
He's scanning everything. He's checking out Hart's base. I think Neeb knows. GG. Hart will advance on to the top 8 of WCS America Season 3, eliminating our American Terran player Neeb, and that's the brutality of Terran versus Terran right now, QXC. It's really, a very, very fast-paced, aggressive matchup.
Really feel for Neeb right now. You can definitely tell he's not playing his best. The games were, they were one-sided. They were one-sided in a way where you could feel like just whatever is going on with him right now is affecting his play, and yeah, I don't know. It's a place that every pro gamer has been in, and it's really unfortunate to see.
Yeah, still a tough match, but nevertheless, I'd say that Neeb ends up, as far as the players from the United States go, has had the most success this season. I'd say almost this year, him and Puck. And even Puck has not been able to get 2 round of 16 berths for WCS America. So Neeb is still on the up and up, I'd say. His results have been improving. And it's been cool to see him come out here again. I'm hoping that we can see more of him next year moving on, as things are definitely going to be a bit more interesting looking forward.
Yeah, for sure.
But any final thoughts on that series?
I don't know. There wasn't. It didn't feel like a series that you really analyze for gameplay. I wouldn't look at that and be like, what did I do wrong? I would look at, what did I do wrong in my preparation? Why wasn't I playing as well as I could have? Because I've seen Neeb play before, and I know he's a much better player than the games that he put on today. And it's just one of those situations. You got to let go of the games. You made a lot of mistakes that were uncharacteristic. And there are things to be learned from those games, but it felt like the biggest thing to learn is just making sure that the next time he's attending a LAN tournament, which I think this is one of his first LAN experiences, whatever he can do to replicate that home online environment where he's been so successful, that's kind of where the focus needs to be.
That's an interesting point, making the jump from playing from home to actually coming out to these offline events, which he hasn't been to a lot of. But big thanks to, of course, Neeb for showing up. Played very, played the best that I guess we were going to be able to see from him. But now it's time to hear from the winner. Moving on to the top 8, we've got Cameron over with Hart.
Thank you, Nate. Hart, congratulations on advancing to yet another round of 8. I wanted to know, you opened gas first against Neeb in all 4 of the maps that you played against him. Did you know something about his play style that told you that would be very effective?
김민혁 선수, 닙 선수와 하시는 경기 4경기 다 성가스로 출발을 하셨는데 이제 그렇게 하면은 닙 선수도 똑같이 대처를 하고 똑같이 이길 수 있을 거라고 생각하고 계셨습니까?
네. What was it that you
Do I need to translate that?
Okay. All right. So he obviously knew something, but we're not sure what it was he knew. Now, you played every single series in the entire day today without any breaks. Are you feeling a little bit tired? How are you going?
오늘 경기 하기 전에도 살짝 피곤하다고 말씀하셨는데 지금 쉬는 텀 없이 6경기 내리 하셨습니다. 좀 어떻게 피곤하신가요?
네. Yes, all right. Now, we do have a question from an audience member at home. At Corey Gaming wants to know, if Major was in this bracket, would it have looked any different, or would you have still won? I think I know how he's going to answer.
후안 선수가 경기 하러 왔었다면은 경기 양상이 좀 바뀌었을까 아니면 똑같이 됐을 거라 생각하십니까?
앞에 인터뷰는 장난이었고 메이저 선수도 비슷하다고 생각하기 때문에 별 다를 거 없다 생각합니다.
The first 2 questions and the answers was kind of me joking. That's how funny I can get. Apologies for the trolling. And to answer the question, Major, he is known as a good player, but I don't think it would have changed anything.
All right. Now, heading into the round of 8, how do you feel about your overall condition and ability to play at this point?
What do you mean?
Like, how do you feel about your conditioning moving into the round of 8? Are you feeling very confident?
이제 8강 경기를 이제 다음 주인지 언제인지 앞두고 계시는데 오늘 보여준 경기력으로서도 이제 거기서도 자신이 있으신지.
오늘 경기력이라면 탈락할 것 같네요. 열심히 해야겠습니다.
I think with what I've shown today, if I keep this on, 100% guaranteed I'll be knocked out. So I'm gonna prep a little harder and show you guys a better game next time.
Wow, well, best of luck to you. I hope that you are able to get all the practice that you need so you feel a little bit better. That's all for me today, but let's go ahead and check back in with the casters and hear their final thoughts on this day.
Thanks, Cameron. Hart is, I don't know, he's feeling a little like a joker today.
Yeah, well, he made it through, and his hopes for BlizzCon continue to be ignited. And that's a good feeling to go. You know, even if he didn't make it out first in his group, staying in the tournament is always the most important thing because he can always figure out, you know, prepare for the next match and play from there on. But once you're eliminated, there's only sadness.
Yeah, tough. It's been a tough day. I think it's been a bit of interesting setup, of course, because Major was not able to play.
Right.
But
that always changes the group in kind of a strange way.
It does. It does. As you guys can see, basically our summary of the day, Polt got a forfeit win over Major since he was not able to participate, and then Polt just defeated Hart. So Polt only played one series today to make it on to the round of 8, and as we could see, Neeb just did. Hart had his number.
Yeah. Neeb lost 0-4 to Hart and was eliminated from WCS. Polt defeated Hart 2-0 and advanced first in his group. And that's how a 3-player group works. So, some interesting TvT today. Mostly just Banshees and Siege Tanks and Medevacs, though.
Yeah, just that fast-paced, aggressive TvT style that we've seen come up. Guys, it's been a treat doing this so far. We're going to continue the round of 16 next week. That's all from us. Now, let's hear from Clutch.
Thank you, gentlemen. Kevin, you were right. This was a short day. It wasn't a long day, but circumstances determined that. Anyways, again, Major, we hope you feel better. I'm feeling a little bit better, but the flu's going around, so make sure to wash your hands, folks, here in the audience. But we're going to have dinner a little bit later as well, so I know they're hungry. That's a bad image, flu and being hungry. I'm sorry about that. Anyways, make sure to follow Newegg, at Newegg on Twitter, our sponsor. Thanks again, Newegg. It's a pleasure to have you here. Also visit the website, esl.gg/NewEggEsports. We're going to be back Tuesday at 1500 Pacific Daylight Time. That's 3 o'clock p.m. for people here in the United States of America. Until then, thanks for watching. And on behalf of everyone here at ESL Gaming, we'll see you next time. Good night and good game.